Today, I've been thinking about perfectionism, and I've been thinking about all the great goals in my life that I let perfectionism in the past stop me with. I used to be one of the number one people that if I had any mistakes, anything wasn't perfect, I would not do that thing. And I was afraid of constantly making mistakes all the time. I meet business owners and I coach them all the time. They have a goal, they get their funnel built, they get their website done, they get their landing page, their ads done, they get their offer built for their business, and they're afraid of it not working out or not being good enough. They're afraid of it not being perfect enough or it not producing the results that they want. They're afraid of messing up, and they're letting that fear be like a boss in their life. They're letting the fear be like the prison warden in their life that controls them. Well, unless it's perfect enough, you can't move to the next level. And this is what our brain does, is it convinces us that if any possibility of making mistakes exists and that it could be better, if we could do better, if something could be made better, then we can't move to the next level. We can't put it out there. We can't put our videos out there. We can't put our content out there. We can't put our course out there, our coaching program out there, our book out there. And that we can only launch unless things are perfect. We got to break up with this. We got to break the fear of making mistakes. We got to break the stronghold that perfectionism has on our lives. If you want to be successful, the most successful people, they're not afraid of looking perfect. They're not trying to appear professional. They're not afraid of that. And you might say, well, they've been doing it long enough. It just comes natural to them, right? That's what our brain convinces us, is they've been doing it long enough. Here's the thing. They actually just decided to not be afraid long enough that it became normal and they weren't fearful. And so if you want to achieve success, you have to actually embrace mistakes, imperfections, and realize that part of what's going to take you to the next level in your business, in your life, is to take action on things when they're not perfect, when they're good enough. And actually, listen, change the standard that you have of what you're willing to put out there. I hear a lot of people say, and I believe this, don't sacrifice your standards for anything. That comes with who you're going to allow in your life and the people in your life and your standards. I want you to have such a standard of excellence in your life that you don't allow perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes put you out there. That's not excellence. That's stupidity. That's fear. That's worry. That's being locked in a prison. And so many people have so much potential for what they can do in business, for what they can do in their life, and yet they're submitting to this prison sentence of, well, I can't until I'm at a certain level. I can't until I'm good enough. I can't put it out there unless it's going to be perfect. I can't make mistakes. I'm so timid and afraid of messing up and making mistakes. And this controls us. It's a mental issue. It's a mental strength issue. And it comes from in our past when things weren't perfect, when we made mistakes, we got punished, blamed, ostracized. People didn't listen to us. They didn't want to be around us. They hated us. They made us feel less than, less worthy than, and that unless things were a certain level of perfect, that we couldn't, that we shouldn't, and we made these beliefs in our heads that we shouldn't put ourselves out there unless things are 100%. I work with people that are hyper successful people. In my business, I'm extremely successful in my business. The people that we work with produce a lot of results, a lot of money. And one of the biggest things that takes people from where they are to where they want to be is when they break up with perfectionism and they actually become okay with making mistakes. They actually become okay with messing up. They actually become okay with things not working out. They actually become okay with releasing things good enough. And one of the greatest things, I coach hundreds of people in my coaching group every single week that stops them, that stops my clients. And it makes me sad because I see it and there's nothing I can do about it. That's the thing. Like, I feel powerless in this. I can't make somebody take action when they're terrified to do so. I'm not going to hold a gun to their head or give them an ultimatum to do that. But like some people literally act like fear of making mistakes is holding a gun to their head and telling them, you better not move forward. You better not take action. Like somebody's holding a gun to their head saying, unless it's perfect, you better not put it out there. And we got to break free from this stronghold that it has on our lives. We got to break free from this. And we call it so many different things. We justify it. Spirit of excellence. No, it's not a spirit of excellence to be a perfectionist. It's not. It's the absolute opposite of it. It's allowing fear to be the master, commander, controller, and ruler of your life. And whatever you give authority to in your life has control over you. And if you've given authority and power to perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes, that's the life you're going to get, is you're going to get the results of that, the consequences of that. You want to know what the consequences of perfectionism and fear of making mistakes are? Is a life that you know that you wish you could have had that you will never experience. It's exactly what it is. I need to make that a soundbite because it sounded really good. But that's true. The consequences of fear of making mistakes and perfectionism is to have a version of your future life that you wish that you could have had that you will never experience. Until you break free from it. Until you stop letting the worry and the fear of making mistakes, of looking bad to people, of missing the mark, of people making fun of you, of things not going perfectly. We got to give up the control in our lives. That's what it breaks down to. Perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes is we're trying to control the perceptions that people have. We're trying to control and make things go our way, when actually the truthful way that you do that is you surrender. You let go. You let go of it. And for me, I let go and I give it to God. I give it to God and I say, God, this is on you now. I did my work. I did my best. I'm gonna break this again. Perfectionism and fear of making mistakes is not the same as doing your best. Because doing your best actually means that you're going to put it out there. If you hold on to something and you bury it and you hide it because of fear of what might happen when you release it, that's not excellence. That's not doing your best. That's submitting to fear in your life. And you're not going to get to the next level. And I get it. Some of us have experienced trauma, pain. We've had people abuse us for not being perfect. We've had people abuse us for making mistakes. And we're trying to avoid that abuse. I get it. But you got to learn to toughen yourself mentally. That's why I love Stoicism. That's why I love the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. That's why I recommend everybody read the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Learn about this stuff. And work on it. If they need to talk with a therapist, if they need to heal from what traumatized you, heal from what broke you, heal from what tried to turn you into a victim, and no longer be a victim to your past story. The past story that told you that unless things are perfect, you aren't deserving of love. You aren't deserving of connection. You're not deserving of respect. And that the only way to get respect and connection is to be perfect and to never make mistakes. And that's the story that we end up creating in our lives, and we end up making decisions about our future based off of, if I do things perfect enough. And it's a fantasy. It's a lie. It's a hoodwink. Like, we are actually hoodwinked into believing this. We're hoodwinked into believing that the more perfect things are before we put them out there, and that if we just tiptoe and walk on eggshells to make sure that we never make mistakes, that things will go well for us. The truth is, things will go terrible for you when you do that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy when you operate that way. But when you actually learn to put yourself out there and not fear making mistakes, not fear saying the wrong things, not fear looking stupid, not fear what other people say, not fear the judgment and results. The consequences of that, of taking imperfect action, is your dreams actually start to manifest in your life. If you allow perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes to run you, the consequences of that is that you will never experience your dreams, that you will never experience what you were called to, until you learn to not let those things run you. until you learn to not let those things stop you. And it is going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel like a comfort zone. That's why our comfort zone is perfectionism. Our comfort zone is don't make mistakes. Outside of your comfort zone is take action even if you make a big mess. Take action even if it's not perfect. Even if people say mean things about you. And put yourself out there, not be afraid of what's going to happen, just to see what happens. Experiment. Take time to experiment and just to have fun with what might happen. Take the time to just put yourself out there just to see what might happen. That'll change your life. So if you're somebody, you're like, man, I'm dealing with this. You got a choice to make. You can keep staying in your comfort zone, or you can move forward. I got podcast episodes, 181 podcast episodes on my website, nearly 1,000 videos on my YouTube. I do daily videos on my social media to help you break past what's stopping you. I want to create 1,000 millionaire coaches, trainers, mentors, and authors out there. People that are impacting people and changing their lives. And the only way that that's going to happen is if they break up with perfectionism. If they stop letting the fear of making mistakes rule and run their life. They stop letting the fear of other people's opinions control them. And they learn to do things just because they want to. Start doing what you want instead of what everybody else tells you should. That's going to actually change your life. The result of that is actually the things that you want start to manifest. Instead of doing what you think according to some version of your life that everybody tells you that you should be doing. Perfectionism is all the should do's. Imperfect action is what you actually want, is actually moving forward. And the forward momentum that happens when we take action, when we start doing things, when we start putting into practice by taking action, what we want is we create by design the life we always prayed for. So I hope this encourages you. I hope this helps you. Again, stay plugged into this content. I do live events every single month to help people that are coaches, trainers learn how do we get clients? How do we get new business? How do we get people buying from us in our business? I'd love to help you as well. I'd love to help you make 6 and even 7 figures in your business, like my clients, Joshua Giles, Rick Pino, Nathan Fisher, Dawn Palacios. Like I've done with my mom, built a $20 million coaching business from zero. And how you can do the same to build a multi-million-dollar empire with coaching, training, mentorship, by taking what you know, by taking your knowledge and putting it out there to people. And that's what I talk about on my podcast. That's what I talk about on these videos. This video, if you're somebody that you know that you have a message that impacts people and you're letting the fear of your message being perfect stop you from putting it out there, or the fear of you messing up in the process stop you, there are people in your life that are in the future that are waiting for you to not let this stop you, that their destiny is hanging in the balance of you waiting. And listen, I believe that yes, it will work out. God does amazing things. Somebody else will take the banner. Somebody else will do it. But why not you? If not today, why not now? Okay? Why not now? What if your yes? What if you saying no to perfectionism and putting your story out there, your song out there, your music out there, your book, your course, your coaching program would impact somebody's life so much that it changed a generation, and yet you're letting your fear stop that from happening? You're letting your fear and worry of things not going how you want stop that from happening. It's time to stop letting fear and worry stop us. It's time to stop letting the control that perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes and the fear of messing up has on our life stop us. It's not a spirit of excellence. It's not wisdom. It's not doing your best. It's allowing yourself to be a victim instead of having victory in your life. And if you want to accomplish great things, you got to be somebody that has victory in your life instead of letting your situations, your feelings, or your past control you. And that's a choice that you can make. And I'd love to help you. If you're somebody that can break past that and actually start to take action, I can show you how to make money in a business online with what you know. Follow me, follow my page, follow the podcast. I'll see you on some more of these videos. We'll talk soon. Have a good one, everybody.